Alright, so the first duel type is cube duels. Now, cube is one of the fan favorite game modes in this game. It's so versatile. You can do so many things with the cube game mode. The opposite can be said for this duel form, because in dual cube you can't really do much without it being absolutely inconsistent. Something like Inscape's duels you saw in my earlier video. God, that level's terrible. Anyways, there's one key thing that a cube duel needs. It's called the alternating cube jump. It's when one cube jumps and the other one doesn't. But when the other cube lands, you'll see what I mean. Alright, so you have our classic duel entrance. Something like that, right? I think this is one of the best ways to make a duel. Now, there's plenty of ways you can enter it. You could do what I did just here. You could, hold on. You can use J blocks in order to make it so that one cube does not jump. If you remember earlier, J blocks prevent the cube from jumping. You can also use green orbs. These are pretty versatile. You can do that. I would always recommend so that you don't use micro clicks unless you're trying to make a top 50 extreme. Don't use micro clicks in your alternating cube jumps. Just don't do it. Alright? Because that just makes your level unfun. Now, I would know Layout 4 is a terrible level. Terrible. Which is why I've stopped doing micro clicks. So, in order to stop that, here, let me demonstrate. Okay, let's say you have this, right? You don't want to have it jump that late, right? Or that early. So what you do, you add a J block, and you could delay it. However, J blocks don't always work, because you can just tap right on it. You don't have to hold. However, also be solved using ball portals and black orbs. Now, put this in alpha trigger. You don't also put it so that the bottom cube doesn't hit it. And just this right after, so that it's not a micro click. It works the same as a J block, except you could do this with ball, robot, UFO, and ship. Doesn't really matter too much, but that just stops a micro click and stops you from jumping earlier than intended, which is what Inscape should have done. So yeah, those are just the basics of an alternating cube jump. You can also make one cube mini and do shenanigans with that. I think you could do really interesting stuff with that, just like Layak did in that one duel part. However, alternating cube jumps aren't specifically meant for cube. You can do this with any game mode. You can do it with ball, spider, and UFO, and robot. Those are all really good options for your alternating jumps. I really do think the cube game mode is not a very good idea. Do not put a dual cube as like your main dual section. Just have an alternating cube jump, have it transition into two different game modes, and then just go from there. That's kind of my recommendation. Alright. So another way to spice up your cube duel, other than doing alternating cube jumps, you can do a thing called outwards alternating cube jumps. And I'll demonstrate that for you by creating for a bit. Alright, so it's something like this, where the cubes, instead of it being what I showed you earlier, it's outside. It can make for some interesting gimmicks. I recommend doing it. I would not recommend doing this with ship and wave, because they can't jump. Well, ship kinda can with orbs, but other than that, you can't really do much with either in terms of the alternating jump category. So don't use that. Alright. So this is how you make a cube duel. I wouldn't recommend it too much, but I think it would be a pretty cool thing if you just put an alternating cube jump. And like for around 3-4 jumps, that should be good. Alright, that's about it.